and welcome to Getting To Know ACS with Tracy
and Jasmine.
And today we have a repeat guest, our first repeat. Whoop, whoop. Today we have with us Mr. Richard Fairley, and he is with our financial readiness program. So as we're in the full swing of PCS season, let's talk about some things that people need to be mindful of when they're PCSing. And in the financial realm, I think one of those things is probably a budget. So you want to give us a few little tips on budgeting, Mr. Fairley?
Absolutely. First off, let's talk the PCS piece, since you brought that up first.
Okay.
Really, a lot of times it still boils down to the same thing, just having a foundation. And we talked the planning and the budgeting piece. We're going to talk about it a little more today. But also just understanding that everything when it comes to your livelihood, what you want to do, a lot of times comes down to your money. And then making sure that you have a plan for your money.
Right.
So even doing the PCS piece, it's just doing research, finding out, hey, what's going to change with my pay? What things will remain the same? Where I'm going, what's going to be different there financially than where I am currently?
Right.
So really, it just still boils down to planning,
being prepared,
and budgeting. Yeah, and even talking about that, a lot of people say budgeting, but it's planning and budgeting, because we can talk numbers all day, but you need to have a plan. Okay. A plan means that you strategically laying out what you need to do to accomplish what you really want to do. Okay. And really it boils down to a lot of this. When it comes to finances, you have to understand that if you don't have a plan for your money, someone else has a plan for your money. Yeah. And you really have to understand that if you're going to really build a solid foundation when it comes to finances. The other thing is, too, you have to understand that your money's going to make somebody rich. It just may not be you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, and I think that's a lot of people. I know my money's making somebody rich because I'm not.
and some of them may be coming to me. Who knows?
I know. I need to come see you, Rich. Yeah.
But, sometimes it just boils down to having a good understanding of where we are. Okay. Not just where we are financially, but also understanding where we are as far as even our country. We're a capitalistic society. Mm-hmm. So thinking about that, someone's always competing to get our money. Right. And think about this, even the calendar is set up to encourage that. Prime example.
You said the calendar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The calendar.
Okay.
About 3 weeks ago, we had what in America?
Independence Day.
Independence Day, 4th of July.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people, they got out and they want to celebrate fireworks and barbecues and all that stuff. Right. August, not a big deal unless you got kids going back to school. Right. September, Labor Day, got to celebrate the fact you got a job. Right. October, Halloween, which most people don't understand is a billion-dollar industry. There are companies that survive all year what they make in Halloween.
Yeah, the Halloween store.
Yeah. Then we get to November, which we already know is the gauntlet. So we got, it used to just be Black Friday, but now we got Brown Thursday, Black Friday,
Cyber Monday,
Small Business Saturday. It used to be Cyber Monday, now it's like Cyber Week, and then Amazon Prime just comes in and just do what they want to do when they want to do it, how they want to do it. Then when this thing, we know in December, Christmas time. 7 days later, New Year's. Yep. The next month, February, Valentine's Day. Not a big deal unless you want to lose your boo thing, but if you got a boo thing, you want to keep it for the next year, you need to contribute and participate, right?
Okay.
Then we start getting the March, April time frames. You're talking about St. Patty's Day, Easter, spring break, different things going on there. Okay. Then we start getting into May.
Memorial Day.
Mother's Day also.
Mother's Day.
June.
My birthday.
I am stressed with all these holidays.
June, Father's Day.
Okay.
Then next thing you know, we're right back at July again.
Somebody.
You know what? It is something going on every single month that we want to spend money on.
That's the way the system is designed.
Wow, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. I was just looking like, do I get a day off this month? Yes, I do.
That's how I only think about when I'm getting days off. I don't think about all those other holidays.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one thing I have a candid discussion with some people, because really when we really start talking about reaching your financial goals, you have to decide sometimes, what am I going to sacrifice? Right. And some people, they can't figure it out, but I break it down to them like this. You have to decide if you're going to sacrifice now or sacrifice later. Okay. So I'm not saying you don't participate. I'm just saying choose what you're going to participate in. I choose not to participate in everything.
Okay.
However, the things that I am going to participate in, I plan it out thoroughly.
Okay.
So, again, back to the planning and budgeting. A lot of people think they have an income problem.
Right.
And it's not a lot of times that they have an income problem. It's that they got a cash flow problem.
Or a spending problem.
Well, and let me explain this. Income is measured in dollars. I make a certain amount of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Cash flow is measured in time. How long can you live off the money that you have?
Okay.
So a lot of people are so caught up in, if you live in paycheck to paycheck or paycheck behind the paycheck, your cash flow is zero or negative.
Okay.
That means you have to keep working because you haven't developed a plan to help you account for how you can keep your money coming to you instead of transferring to someone else.
Drop them gems. Go ahead, Rich.
So that's
He's rich because his name is Rich.
my mom did really well. She knew what she was talking about. Fairly rich. I was like, Mom, you did it. You did it.
Okay.
Dad, you had a part two. We good.
Okay.
Okay. So that's part of it. You got to think when we're talking about a plan, we're talking about a strategic proposal that's going to help you achieve what you want to achieve.
Okay.
Everybody says when we start talking about what you want to do, oh, I want to be rich. Okay. What define rich?
Right, because that's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
Then people, the number one answer we get is,
I want to be a millionaire.
I want to be a millionaire. Okay, good.
I won't say the rest of the song.
What's your plan to become a millionaire?
Yeah.
And when we start asking those questions, that's when we get the whole, deer in the headlights look like.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Then here's the other thing I got to explain to them. Even if you become a millionaire, if your cash flow is negative, you still broke.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. Jeez.
I know. It's like, dang.
Mind your business, Rich.
I know.
So
It's like, just make us feel bad in here today.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes in order for you to heal,
you got to get moved.
sometimes we got, yeah. Okay. Sometimes if you got a sore, we got to get in there and dig the sore out and clean it out and all that stuff. Then we can get healed. So we got to really look at it. And that's what it really boils down to. Most people just do not have a plan.
Okay, so
for their money.
So first, to start off with, you got a plan. Make that roadmap to how you're gonna get to where you want to get to. So, and part of that planning, I guess, would be that budget.
Yes.
So you can kind of see where your money is going.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the budgeting, since you done thoroughly whipped us with a plan.
Well, first things first. Number one, we have to establish and see what you have coming in.
Okay.
So a lot of times with our soldiers, it's just as simple as pulling their LES and seeing what's going on with their LES.
Okay.
Then that's where the magic happens, the fun begins, because we get into where you're spending your money, so it depends. And then too, every situation is different. For instance, a lot of single soldiers will have first term soldiers, and I'll sit down with them and they like, well, I want to buy a car and I want to do this, and they learn very quickly that I'm a why person. I will ask you why 25 times in the meeting. And here's the reason why. If you can explain your reasoning why,
right,
then we could talk about how to get there.
Okay.
If you can't explain your why, then we probably need to sit down and rethink it.
Okay.
A lot of soldiers, I just got to my first duty station. Great. I just came from Backwoods, Mississippi. And I say that because that's where I'm from.
Okay.
And this is the most money I ever made in my life.
Right.
Great. But now, because you want to make up for all that time and all those things that you wanted before,
that lack,
now you do everything to excess. I want a TV. Good. But I'm embarrassed. I need to get a TV to cover that entire wall over there.
I need that 75.
Yeah, I need a TV so big that my room is so small I can't even look at but half of it. I need a car. No, you don't. Why? Well, because I want to be able to get around. Okay, where's PT at? Outside. Where's the DFAC at? Outside. A block away. Where's work? Across the street. Get you some good shoes. Maybe get a bicycle.
Okay, so you can stay in shape.
Oh, there's electric scooters now.
Well, I saw a guy riding.
There's one that rides by the building all the time. Yeah.
And the reason I say that a lot is sometimes we have to understand we've been programmed to think a certain way about money.
Right.
And I know you're familiar with the Army. You're familiar with the Army. I was in the Army for a long time.
Right.
We got to do what's called step 8 of the 8-step training model.
Okay.
Retrain.
Yeah.
Retrain your brain.
And that's the part of the process that we have to understand. Unfortunately, a lot of service members that come in didn't come from places that were well-to-do.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when we start making this money, we start thinking along the lines of, I want to enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of times this is their first job.
Yes.
It's when you're looking at the younger soldiers, maybe they just went straight out of high school. They didn't work during high school. They just went straight out of high school into the military. And like you said, this is the most money I've ever had.
Right.
Or they may be coming from a situation where their family was maybe not that well-to-do, and they had lack. And so you get into that lack mindset, and then you get that money, and then all of a sudden, you know what? I don't want just a car. I want the BMW.
There we go.
I want the Mercedes.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? You might want to start off with a Hyundai or a Kia. And I love my Kia because I have one. Yeah. But sometimes you have to, like you said, we're so programmed that I need to have what I consider the best instead of just getting what. You know what? I just need a car to get me from point A to point B.
Yes.
The fake rich. That's what it is. Fake rich.
And also, with that, the microwave mentality. I want it, and I want it instant. So a lot of times, soldiers want to go buy a vehicle. Oh, well and good. That's great. How's your credit?
What?
Oh, I don't have any. Well, you're getting ready to pay more for that car than what it's worth.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's take a little time. Let's be patient. That's why I go back to the shoes. Go get you some good shoes. Walk a little bit. Get you a bicycle. Ride a little bit. Because if you do that, you're going to save yourself a tremendous amount of money, and more importantly, a lot of just controlling your financial stress.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the major piece that most people miss when it comes to planning and budgeting. They look at it as a restriction rather than freedom to do more, because I planned it out and I thought it out, and now I know how to execute it.
Right.
Rather than just, I see it, I like it, buy it.
Yeah.
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 I can relate to that.
Yeah, and so can I. I've been there, and a lot of things I talk about are me.
It's because of personal experience.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like what you said, though, that budget, and I never even thought about that people look at a budget as a restriction. So it has kind of like a negative connotation. It's like, okay, we're going to put you on a budget. What? You mean I can't spend my money like I want to spend it? But when you look at the plan, it's like, if you go with this, then your plan is going to come into play.
Yes.
It's going to start falling. Everything's going to start falling into place. So
yeah, if most people really look at it and really sit down and think about it, if you have a good plan with what you have coming in, you get to make sure you're good for the future.
right.
But also, if you really account for your money and holding yourself responsible and accountable for what you're doing with it, you can enjoy some things now.
Yeah.
But without the stress. For instance, if I made just $1,000 a month, but I decide to go out here and I'm spending $500 a month on a car.
Right, and that's not even with the insurance.
Right? Insurance, we ain't talking about gas, we ain't talking about any other stuff.
Maintenance, nothing.
Then I've already put myself in a position where I'm going to have to make, again, some sacrifices.
Right.
But some of the sacrifices I'm going to make on that end will be some things that I probably need.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's important. If I understand, look, life is going to happen, I need to have an emergency fund.
Right.
You know, one of the big issues I see a lot are soldiers that are transitioning from the military, and they don't start understanding and thinking that if I'm planning on getting out in 4 years, I need to be setting aside a lot of money because the Army right now is covering and paying for a lot of things
Right.
that I'm going to be required to pay for out of my pocket.
Like health insurance.
Health,
Yeah, that's
That'll get you.
expensive. Yeah.
dental,
Yes. That's why people be walking around here with jacked up teeth.
right? Like me.
Your teeth are messed up.
But think about it. Either they live in the barracks and they can go to DFAC and eat for free, or they get money to assist with food.
Right. Or even like Jasmine was saying with, when you have a family and you decide, I'm just going to get out, and you don't think about, okay, TRICARE has been paying for their insurance. I've been able to go and get my stuff. Now, not only do I have to pay for my family's insurance, I'm also going to have to pay for my insurance.
Right.
And health insurance is not cheap. And especially if you have somebody with a pre-existing condition,
and you probably shouldn't go cheap on that. Like,
I know, it's like,
But it's even deeper than that. When you talk about medical, we talk about dental, but life insurance as well.
Yes.
So again, it's just so many different things that you really have to start thinking about. And I'm not one of those that say, everybody's supposed to stay in the military for 20 plus years. That's not realistic.
Because it's not for everybody.
However, and that's why I try to explain to a lot of people, hey, got it. If you plan on getting out, again, you need to be more immersed in your plan than those who are going to stay in for 20 years. They're going to get a paycheck for the rest of their life. You aren't.
Yeah.
So you really need to be creating a detailed plan.
Okay. So when we think about, and we're talking a lot about vehicles and stuff like that. So when you're looking at, setting a budget up for someone, and I want to, let's change that whole being restricted, because it's like you do this now so you can enjoy it more later. So what are some of the things that people, what should people consider budgeting for, like when they're PCSing?
When they're PCSing, budgeting for basically just the transition, because you got to think, especially if you have a family, you live off post, there are going to be some things that you have here that you're going to have to replace once you get there. Your house may be structured differently. Little things that people really don't think, my curtains may not fit. Am I going to have to purchase a refrigerator? Am I going to have to purchase converters? Or am I going to be able to get converters depending on where I'm going? Is the cost of living going to be higher? Is a gallon of milk going to cost me $1.25 or $5.25? So it's all of those things. If I am taking my vehicle to a different place, is the gas going to be more? Is the maintenance on my vehicle going to be more?
That, and you got to worry about that tire blowing while you're driving too, right? If you're driving.
Yes, and I'm because I remember PCSing, and of course we had the vehicles checked before we left, but things happen. We get down the road and our water heater goes out. And, we have to roll up into some gas, just you don't have the opportunity to really look for who's going to fix it and stuff. So we get to this mechanic, they say they fix it, but then they pinched it. So we get down the road a little further and it goes out again. So we have to, and that was money, that fortunately we had the money to get it fixed. But sometimes when you're PCSing like that, you're just like, I'm good. You don't think about those tire blown, the engine going out or something like that, and having to end up spending the night somewhere where you hadn't planned on, having to get that hotel room that you hadn't planned on, and then you get to your PCS, you get to your duty station, and it's like, oh, we got to go to AER.
And the housing is like, we don't have a house right now. You got to wait a week,
or you got to wait a year.
And even
or
with
6 months.
That still goes back to again the planning piece, and knowing your resources. Because even in those situations, AER may be your best choice.
You call them up.
But if you don't know that, then you're still stuck out there. If you don't know that, hey, if it's outside normal hours, I can call Red Cross. Or not knowing, hey, I may not be close to an Army installation, but I can go to an Air Force installation. I can go to a Marine base. I can go to a Navy station and still request help. So again, sometimes it's not just the planning piece, but knowing the resources that you have available to you to help you. Because if you start thinking very rashly and irrational, you're going to make some irrational decisions. And those irrational decisions can cost you a lot more than just knowing what your resources are.
And so, and I think we touched on this before, like coming here, and we have the privatized housing. They require you sometimes. Do they require you to put down a deposit on those?
Yes.
So it's a lot of times people are under the impression, I'm going to live on post, so I don't have to worry about a deposit.
No,
but
that used to be the way it worked
back in the day,
a few decades ago. But since they've gone to privatized housing, first month's rent deposit, that's still a requirement. And so, just again, do I have the money for it? Am I setting aside the money for it, or am I going to go to AER and get help?
Right.
So again, even those things, it still sits down. And if you don't have all the answers, that's why it's important that you know who to go to.
Right.
And financial readiness is a major portion where we're doing briefings and doing all this stuff, and sometimes people are so caught up in the process that they don't pay attention to some of the information that we're giving.
Right.
So again, that goes back to planning. Plan months ahead. As soon as you know you get an assignment, hey, let me go sit down with financial readiness and know. Right. Let me sit down and let's establish a plan.
Because I know it happens that sometimes people don't get that time. They end up finding out that they're PCSing with a short amount of time. But for the most part, you do have 6 months out. And they, like you said, as soon as you find out that you're getting ready to come down on orders, come talk to y'all. Sit down with one of you guys, one of the counselors over there, and so that you guys can work with them to make sure that they have that plan in place, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a budget, but make sure that plan is in place so when you get to the next duty station, you're in good shape. So.
And that's a major part too that I think a lot of people are missing also, as far as what the Army is providing, because right now, honestly, there are milestones that are a part of technically the law that service members are supposed to come to get training on.
Okay.
And PCS is one of them.
Oh, okay.
So again, some of it is just the Army is doing their best to transition to help people prepare, but also it's just making sure we get the buy-in and the education out there so people know. Divorces, marriages, childbirth,
life,
deployments, all these things are included in some of the milestones.
Okay. And so, and I'm veering a little bit off topic, but I'm glad you brought up about, the training. So units, brigades, if they want you to come out and talk to their soldiers and say, hey, we're going to have Mr. Fairley or whoever come out and speak to you guys about budgeting or about planning, because I'm going to change my verbiage. It's like we're going to have them talk to you about financial planning, how to come up with that plan. So when you have that big group like that, you're going to have somebody in there who may be getting out, or it's like, okay, I'm doing my 3 years and that's going to be it. Or you may have that person in there that's that long term, I'm going to do 20 plus years, but you can hit all that, so they can contact you.
Right.
Or the financial readiness program, and have you guys come out and actually do that type of training for their units, right?
Absolutely, and we're very eager to do it.
Yes.
Right now, there's 3 of us in ACS, and all of us are very passionate about helping the service members and the families. And being able to talk to a group like that helps us, one, get a mass education piece out there. Right. But also, that's a huge conduit we have for soldiers to schedule one-on-one appointments so we can get more specific into what they're trying to do and what they want to achieve, and we can help them develop a plan to do that. Right. And one thing I would say, there are some units on this installation that do that phenomenally. Right. They are very great at reaching out to us and requesting us to come out and do training. And there are some that are not as much.
And that's how it is.
And then too, again, me myself, I'm trying to educate as many people as I can, because they don't realize financial piece is actually part of the common military training right now. Right. So some units don't get it, and again, it's just educating, and I hope some of them are listening to this so they can see that, hey, you need to schedule this, because it's a part of your training just as important as the weapons training. Right. As far as the physical training, because this again plays a huge role in the stress. And you got to think, minimizing stress in the military, that is a part of military readiness. If your soldier's stressed out about money, it don't matter how good they are with their weapon system, how good they are at repairing that vehicle, how good they are at what they do. If they're stressed out financially, they're not going to perform at their best. Right. And we need our service members and our families to know that they are covered and they're secure, so they're not stressed out, and they can perform their duties to the best of their abilities.
Right,
period.
Right.
And that those resources are right there at their fingertips. All they got to do is pick up the phone and make a phone call and make an appointment with you guys.
Right.
And then, because I know they get the small briefing when they come in for newcomers. Do they get... It doesn't go into a lot of detail, so I like the idea that you guys go out to the brigades and it's like, this is what we're talking about. You don't have to worry about everything else that you're going to hear, because at some point, you know what, I'm checking out. I done heard all these. I'm like, but this way, if they know, okay, they're going to be talking about finances, and that's all that's going to be about. So you have my full attention. Yeah. I'm just waiting for you to say something that, it's like, that's what I've been needing to hear.
Right.
So,
and I would say that there are, and I love this, so there are some brigades right now that actually have an onboarding process down at their brigade level.
Okay.
And we have time allotted to go out and actually brief that. And they're giving us like an hour time slot, which is beautiful. So we can cover a lot of things, and they can know just coming in. So that's a huge thing that is being done by a lot of units out there.
Okay.
One thing I do want to talk about, though, if I can, and I think this is a group that a lot of people don't think about, and this is retirees.
Oh, okay.
And I want to encourage retirees, if you're out there and you're running into situations as well where you may need some help planning and budgeting, please don't be afraid to come and see us. Yeah. And some people misconstrue, and they don't really think about how it's different for some of the older retirees than it is the new ones. For a prime example, I came in 1993. Okay. So I went back and pulled the pay scale from 1993. Right. And even if I retired as a sergeant major with 20 years, my base pay at the time would have been $2,358.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
Now, if we fast forward to today, a sergeant major with 20 years, their pay is around about $6,000.
Oh, that inflation.
So sometimes
they all their business.
Yeah, because sometimes people think, oh, well, you retired from the military, you getting all this money. That's not always the case. Right. Because depending on when I retired, think about it. Even if I got 50% of $2,000, I started off at a retirement check of only about $1,000 a month. Okay. Okay. So sometimes I think a lot of people being very judgmental with some of the people who have retired, not understanding and looking at the real numbers. Right. So that is a population that I really look at and I'm very concerned about, because some of them are judged wrongly, and because of that and the mentality that a lot of us have, we like, if I'm not going to come beg you for help, I will figure it out on my own. And I think that's just doing a huge disservice to a population that really, really needs. Right. I mean, you did the time. I mean, you put in that work. You dedicated, gave up your life basically for those 20 plus years to the military, serving your country. So the very least we could do is help you come up with a plan, with no stigma attached to it. Right. Right. And retirees just knowing too, even with Army Emergency Relief, as a retiree, you're still eligible for Army Emergency Relief. So even if you're out there, you find yourself in those financial binds, don't be afraid to come and ask for assistance if you need assistance. Right. And thank you for that public service announcement. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew retirees could utilize all the services, but I never thought about that there was that type of attitude or that stigma attached to a retiree coming in, and like you said, depending on when you're retired, when you retired, that's right. Yeah. And I will tell you, I was one of those that had to learn that as well, because me helping a retiree educated me on that piece, because here I am, a retired EA, and my retirement check was more than an individual who retired a rank ahead of me in years before me.
Right. I mean, when you see it in black and white, it's just when you're looking at it and how you just said that now, I never would have even thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, you just think, oh, you're a retired sergeant major, or you're a retired,
thinking,
first
you
sergeant.
make a bunch of money, you're fine.
It's like you're good. You don't ever have to work again.
No.
Yeah. So
you have to look at the numbers, and that's why again it's important to do the planning. Don't look at a person's position. Don't look at all these different peripheral things.
Right.
Let's get down to the meat and potatoes of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What's coming in? Do you got debt? Let's deal with that debt.
Okay.
Okay. What things are you paying for that you may want to rethink?
Right.
You know, and then we're all creatures of habit. We all have things that we spend money on that the person next to us probably don't even think about or care about.
Coffee.
Right. Chocolate chip cookies on a regular basis every other day.
And that's why I was telling y'all earlier, you know, and I joke with the soldiers sometimes because they're like, you know, well, I do this or I go here. And I'm like, thank you for your money. I appreciate you. Because I had a mentor that taught me a long time ago that you're not on the road to being wealthy unless somebody's paying you and they don't know it. So a lot of times, sometimes people think I'm crazy. I go to Starbucks and I open the door and greet people. And sometimes they're like,
what are you doing?
Yeah. And some people are very nice. Would you like a cup of coffee? I said, no, thank you. I had my folders at home. I'm good. But I just want to applaud you and thank you for your money because I own a piece of this.
Got it.
It's like I have stock in Starbucks, so come on, keep coming.
Yeah. And that's where you really have to start thinking about where your money is going. And don't get me wrong, I spend some money on some stuff that y'all probably will never think about. However, it's a part of my plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the money at the time, guess what? I got a plan so I can get the money to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of stress involved with it.
Okay, so you have planned in advance to get those little guilty pleasures or whatever that you want to get.
Yeah, new golf clubs on the way.
Okay.
You know, all that good stuff.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So we all want to aspire to be like you, Rich.
Be better than me.
Okay, that too. But again, Rich, it has been a pleasure. It's always great to have these conversations with you. I think it's a lot of valuable information. And I know we have asked you before what brings you joy. So let's see. Jasmine, what can we ask him since we have already asked him what brings him joy? What's another good question we could ask?
Since we were talking about budgeting, what is the top piece of advice in this budgeting thing that you would offer somebody?
Priorities. Defining your wants versus your needs, and then prioritizing what's the best way to get it. So what I mean by that is, if I go to purchase a car and I have to finance it, I'm going to pay more for that car.
Yes.
But if I can be patient and raise enough money, I probably can get the car for less money than the car's cost me, and I'm going to save myself money long term. Understanding that, hey, I want to go on a vacation, but that vacation may cost me more if I do it this route rather than me saving all year and planning it out.
Okay.
So if I could say anything, I would say understanding that budgeting, finances, period, a math problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do your math. If I know I need $1,200 to do this and I'm planning a year out, it's very easy for me to do the math on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
$100 a month.
Yeah. But if I wait to month 10 and want to plan it out, I'm already.
I'm not
You
going.
ain't going. I'm sorry.
So prioritize.
Yeah. Okay.
Prioritize. Again, you have to sometimes decide, am I going to make the sacrifices now? Or am I going to make the sacrifices later?
Yeah. What is that saying? You could be fake rich now or real broke later, right? You guys ever heard of that? No.
That's the first time I heard that.
I was like, no, that's a good one. I never heard
Yeah.
that.
Right? Because if you act fake rich now, you're gonna be real broke later. Because you.
Well, I'm going to give you one that actually I got this off of a song I was listening to. And we were talking about rap music earlier, so don't judge me. It said,
Everybody listens to rap.
well, not my mama. But the saying was, and I wrote this down, it was win or look good losing.
Okay, so win or look good while you're losing. Okay, I got you.
And we have a lot of people that want to buy a lot of stuff and do a lot of stuff to impress other people
that they don't even like.
And that's why I have to explain a lot of people. My circle is very small. And the reason my circle is small, not because I don't like having friends, but honestly, a lot of people, when they get around me and they start seeing that, hey, my mindset and the way I think about doing things and the way I go about doing things is differently, I don't have to push them away. They just automatically just say, hey, I don't want to be there.
Off, okay.
But some people, again, you know, they look at me and they're like, well, I know you make a lot of money. Okay. Well, why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? And what I tell them is, not a priority.
Yeah.
I got needs. I got some wants, but I wait. I'm patient.
Yeah. Okay.
But now you riding in your car, you looking real fly, you looking real nice. You got a nice car, but you're broke.
Yeah.
Like she said, fake rich now or broke later.
Real broke later.
Real broke, not just broke, real broke.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why I tell people, you know, the way that you judge me may be different than the way that some people judge you.
Right.
People judge you by how they see you. But let's say, hey, here's my portfolio. Can I see yours? Let's put them side by side. Let's see who's doing better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
so. You know,
there you go.
Again, you can't live to impress everybody because you're never going to impress people.
Right.
Okay.
Not even yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So the takeaway is priority. I mean, prioritize.
Prioritize.
My takeaway was know your why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think
that's a good one.
Know your why.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you back again.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, we're
trying to get rich.
I know.
Well, first off, let's take try out the vocabulary.
You're right.
Okay, get rich.
We're going to plan to become wealthy, and then we're going to achieve it.
Okay, drop the gym, drop the mic. Okay, so on that note, this is Tracy
and Jasmine
with Getting to Know ACS.
Please click the subscribe button and the bell. Bye.
Bye.